On Monday, August 12th, I am Michael. Let's take a look at the 24-hour data headlines of the currency circle. Yesterday evening, after Bitcoin once attacked 61,885, it began to fluctuate downward. At around 8:30 this morning, it once fell to 58,073, a drop of nearly 6%. The decline was the deepest correction since it rose from $49,000 last week. As of 10 a.m., Bitcoin came above $58,600. If Bitcoin fails to hold above $57,500, the next support point is about $54,500. The trend of Ethereum is similar to that of Bitcoin. It once climbed to $2,700 yesterday evening and then fell all the way. At 10 a.m., Ethereum was floating above $2,500, down 3.2% in the past 24 hours. Currently, $2,500 is a trading-intensive area. If it fails, it may challenge the previous low of $2,400. The total amount of stablecoins in circulation has been decreasing rapidly since July 29th, and it has turned sharply upward since August 1st and has reached $15.5541 billion until August 11th, when it saw a slight decrease for the first time. This shows that although Bitcoin began to plummet on August 2nd, the market recession trading had already begun on July 29th. In this correction, since investors still have confidence in the bull market, the overall correction is to buy the bottom rather than leave the market. The slowdown since August 11th shows that there are enough low-priced chips and they are waiting for the next move of the market. Although the market is generally optimistic about Bitcoin and will not rush to sell, there is still a small selling pressure at this time, which needs attention. Profit margin when selling Bitcoin SOPR. It is usually used to track the overall profit and loss ratio of Bitcoins that move on the same day. When the SOPR value is greater than 1, it means that the seller is selling at a profit, and when it is less than 1, it means that the seller is selling at a loss. The larger the indicator value, the greater the profit and the greater the loss, and the smaller the value, the greater the loss. 8. Since January, the SOPR value has experienced a 1.03. It dropped to 0.96, indicating that the sharp drop in this callback caused investors to suffer floating losses. However, since the market as a whole chose to cover their positions, SOPR the value then rose to 1.05, but has fallen in the past 2 days, and the current SOPR value is 1.02, which means that Bitcoin sellers are almost breaking even. Okay, please like and follow us. We will help you sort out the news about the currency circle, blockchain circle, and mining circle that is closest to money in 24 hours. 14. On the 28th, he was shot while giving a speech at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. The bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear, but fortunately, he was not seriously injured. However, this incident ignited the enthusiasm of the masses. Not only did he win a large amount of funding from Tesla founder Musk, but Silicon Valley Venture Capital and other big names also announced that they would donate to support Trump. Social media was also flooded with discussions about his rising support. A series of news gave people the illusion that Trump seemed to have won without any effort.
With less than 100 days to go before the voting day for the U.S. presidential election, Kamala Harris officially announced Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate this week. With this announcement, Kamala Harris's popularity immediately surpassed that of Republican candidate Trump and his running mate. According to the latest data, Kamala Harris's approval rating has risen from the early 33%, soaring to today 52%. Analysts said that 11. If Kamala Harris's chances of defeating Trump continue to rise before the U.S. presidential election in February, the price of Bitcoin may be negatively affected.
I'm running against a low IQ individual, her. I'm not even talking about him, her. I got a low IQ individual.
I agree with this point of view very much because the stickiness between Bitcoin and politicians has been a bit too high recently. The slightest movement of them can set off a bloody storm in the crypto market. Compared with Trump's public support, Kamala Harris seems so ambiguous, but I have to tell you that this is just a means for them to win votes. Looking back at Kamala Harris, the current U.S. President Biden 7/22 on the 2nd, he announced that he would give up the election and support Vice President Kamala Harris to become 2024. Since then, Harris has quickly raised more than $10,000 in 1 week, $2 billion in campaign funds, and the entire 7. The total amount of funds raised in the month reached an astonishing 3.1. The Democratic Party has raised $1.6 billion, far more than Trump's campaign team, and has greatly boosted the Democratic Party's momentum. It has to be said that these are all tricks of politicians, and the casualties in the end are retail investors.
As of the end of July, the total market value of public chain cryptocurrencies has increased by 1.2% from June to $1.98 trillion. The market leaders are Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB Chain, and Solana, with market shares of 64.8%, 19.7%, 4.3%, and 4.1% respectively. The absolute value of Bitcoin's share increased by 1.5%, Solana increased by 0.6%, and Ethereum decreased by 1.5%. In terms of total locked value, in terms of TVL, the TVL of public chains reached $76.5 billion at the end of July, which was basically the same as in June. Ethereum, Tiaron, and BNB chains continued to lead in TVL.
이번 변동에서 공채인 암호화폐의 총 시가총액은 소폭 상승했으며 주로 비트코인과 솔라나 같은 주요 프로젝트 덕분입니다. 레이어 2 분야의 경쟁이 치열해짐에 따라 끊임없이 등장하는 혁신적인 프로젝트와 신흥 세력들이 산업의 경쟁 구도를 재편하고 있습니다. 레이어 2 솔루션의 수가 지속적으로 증가함에 따라 이를 지원하는 인프라가 유망한 사업으로 자리 잡고 있습니다. 7월에는 이더리움, 롤업 배포 플랫폼 칼데라와 웹3 AI 인프라 개발 업체 네트워크스가 새로운 자금을 조달했습니다. 이더리움이 현재 크게 주목받지 못하고 있지만 이런 측면에서 보면 이더리움의 부상은 시간 문제일 것입니다. Okay, welcome back. This is the Chinese channel of BitcoinTV. I am Michael. In the regulatory environment of the United States, the CFTC and the SEC have been fighting for this big piece of cake. The unclear division of responsibilities is the biggest problem they are fighting for. Last month, the situation seemed to have improved. The FIT21 Act clarified the regulatory boundaries of the cryptocurrency industry and granted the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, primary jurisdiction over the industry. At the same time, the jurisdiction of the SEC was sacrificed. For a time, the practitioners in the currency circle were also cheering because the SEC was notorious and everyone wanted to get rid of it as soon as possible. However, is it really good to give the power to the CFTC? Recently, the CFTC proposed a set of rules, which was jointly opposed by many leading crypto companies. Paul Grewal, the chief legal officer of Coinbase, directly stood up and said, "You CFTC overstepped your authority." What happened? Let's take a look together.
Recently, Democrats, such as Elizabeth Warren, have called on the U.S. CFTC to new rules ban event contracts, speculative contracts on outcomes such as politics, awards, and sporting events, and restrict CFTC. The move was strongly opposed by the cryptocurrency and fintech communities, which are actively exploring prediction markets. Co-founder Cameron Winklevoss said on social media that the CFTC, this proposal should be withdrawn and replanned in collaboration with the industry. Steve Humanick of CFTC. The move is seen as an overreach, noting that Congress has not explicitly authorized such a blanket ban. Dragonfly Capital. The Deputy General Counsel of the CFTC further stated that the CFTC needs to ensure the legitimacy of its regulatory power, non-gambling or election regulators, whose jurisdiction over election campaign contracts is yet to be determined by the courts.
Coinbase argued that the CFTC's proposed rules regarding prediction markets should be withdrawn because they exceed the Commission's statutory authority and ignore the positive impact of prediction markets on the economy that was outlined in a...
It is obvious that cryptocurrency companies generally believe that the CFTC's move will seriously undermine the rights of American citizens to access this powerful prediction market. Many industry insiders believe that the CFTC's proposal exceeds its own regulatory authority and call on it to reconsider its proposal. Opposition voices come not only from companies such as Gemini, Crypto.com, Robinhood, and Coinbase, but also from Robinhood, well-known blogger Scott Alexander, and election betting the founder of Odds.com, and others have also spoken out about this. I wonder if the opposition from so many people will have any effect, and where will the CFTC go? Will it follow the same path? SEC. What about the past corrections? What do you think? Comments are welcome. Recently, I believe many people have been Tether. The lawsuit filed by the company attracted attention. In the lawsuit, Celsius actually asked Tether, how did Celsius return about $2.4 billion worth of Bitcoin? This story started in 2022. At that time, Celsius pledged Bitcoin to Tether. Requirements Tether. However, as the price of Bitcoin fell shortly afterwards, Celsius refused to provide more Bitcoin, resulting in Tether. The Bitcoin was liquidated. This lawsuit is Celsius's request Tether repay the assets that were liquidated at that time. What is the real situation? Tether, will this huge sum of money be repaid?
According to legal documents, Celsius, the specific number of claims is 39,542.42 BTC, approx. $815 billion. But Celsius, a total of 3 transfers were requested from the court. The total amount of these 3 transfers was 57,428.64 Bitcoin, at 60,627 per Bitcoin. In terms of US dollar prices, Celsius seeking 34.8. In addition, Celsius. The lawsuit also requires no less than $100 million in damages, plus additional damages and legal fees to be determined at trial. The company immediately responded that the agreement was Celsius. Filing a lawsuit regarding this pre-bankruptcy incident is simply an attempt to evade responsibility for the company's own mismanagement, which is completely irresponsible.
For the emphasis on the importance of regulations Tether for Tether, this groundless lawsuit against it is a perfect interpretation of the saying, no good thing goes wrong. Tether, which provided stablecoins with good intentions, probably never thought that it would be blamed after so many years and asked to pay for its mistakes even though it did nothing wrong. However, I will not offend others if they do not offend me. Tether. He is not a pushover, saying that no one will benefit from this except the lawyers, bankers, and consultants who filed this case. We are actively preparing for the trial and promise Tether token holders will not be affected. Tether with careful management in recent years. Tether. With a combined equity capital of nearly $12 billion and handsome profits generated every month, the group seems to have no reason to be vague on such matters. For an ordinary person, you can improve your social class and consolidate your wealth little by little through hard work, learning, and improving your cognition, but it is really difficult to make a fortune. People who have made a fortune will have a feeling that, when you make a fortune, the money is not earned, but there is an invisible force pushing you to pick it up. This force seems to be the guidance of fate, allowing you to appear in the right place at the right time and seize opportunities that others cannot perceive.